odd idea that I had just while sitting here, like out of nowhere, out of the blue. I just had this idea where I I was sitting and doing my homework, and then I looked sideways, and I have the Wheel of the Year written out in a circle with an arrow thing that I can move. And I was thinking it would be nice if I could put a separate circle right next to it with all the full moon and the moon phases and all that stuff with an arrow that I can move. And I thought that would be super awesome. But the thing is, I wouldn't like the way that looks. It's 2, and I don't really like the number 2 that much. I much prefer 3, but there's not a third thing I want, so why not put it on 1? Why not put the moon phases on top of the same one and put a second arrow in and move it around in a circle? But then, where would I put the different phases on the Wheel of the Year circle thing that I have here? Like, I have it so I have Samhain on top, which, for one, isn't exactly dark moon to me. It's more waxing crescent-y. It wouldn't work out. So I sat there and I just... And it came across to my mind that Yule is dark moon and Litha is full moon. And there are 8 distinct moon phases that people count. Like, there is dark moon, waxing crescent moon, waxing half moon, waxing gibbous moon, full moon, waning gibbous moon, waning half moon, waning crescent moon, and that's all 8. So, Yule and Litha actually line up perfectly to be dark moon and full moon, and that's exactly what I consider them to be. So, like, that's just such an interesting idea to me, that the energies of the year can match the individual energies within the month of each phase of the moon. Because, starting with Yule, it is the darkest, longest night of the year, and the dark moon is the darkest night of the month. It is completely moon empty. It's moon free skies. Even though there is a moon there, no one can see it. It's also the new moon is considered new beginnings, just as Yule is the birth of the sun god, and it's winter. The sun is starting to regain power. Imbolc is when all the flowers are pushing through, and or not really flowers, grasses. That's like starting to push through the snows a little bit. It's not quite like that. I mean, here it's not quite like that in Phoenix or Arizona or anything like that, but elsewhere, that's generally what Imbolc is associated with. And the waxing crescent moon, it's just beginning to show some light. It's the same. Ostara is the spring equinox. It's the half point. It's waxing half moon. Waxing half moon is like, it's a glass half full. Flowers are coming forward. It's going forth. It's growing. It's the growing half of the year. And then Beltane specifically is waxing gibbous moon and not waxing it, and not the full moon, because it's more subtle. Beltane is like that arousal. It's like super excited, we have the energy, we can rip each other apart, but arousal is generally a pulled back feeling. It's not fully onwards. That is why it's nearly there but not quite. That's why it's the waxing gibbous moon and not the full moon. The full moon is Litha because that is the highest point for the sun, and that is the highest point of the moon. It's the most light on both points. And then Lammas is the waning gibbous moon. Things are just starting to turn into more work feel, but not really. It's the oncoming, it's an oncoming feel to me. And the waning gibbous moon, it still has lots of light. It's the holiday of food, you know? It's gotta be. And then Mabon is the autumn equinox. It's when everything is dying, and it's the glass half empty, waning gibbous moon. Waning half moon, not gibbous. Waning half moon. It's the half point, it's the falling apart point. Everything is going down. Samhain. Samhain is the next one, and it's like, it's finally all down, but it's like, the reason that it's not the dark moon to me is because it has this like vibrating feel to me. It's like more active than Yule. It's not as cozy, and there's this sense of overcoming, oh my gosh, the moon isn't going to be in the sky anymore, or oh my gosh, the sun god just died. Or oh my gosh, all the animals are being killed. This is a horrible thing. Like, the idea of what's going on, it's like, it's more of the deathly feel. It's not completely to the point of comfort that the dark moon can give. Thus why it is the waning crescent moon. Samhain would be related to the waning crescent moon, and I've never really came across this idea before, and I just was sitting there staring at the wheel thinking, okay, this has to happen now that I just thought of this, and I'm just like, this is perfect. The energies of the god and goddess have a uniform go-about throughout the month and the year. The months can be shorter variations of the year, I guess, within the energies. It's the energies within the month are in a cycle, just as the energies within the year are. It's just not as prominent, not as noticeable. Anyway, I felt like this was probably a very need to be shared idea, because this is like, yeah, I had to stop my homework just to do this. I did. It was necessary. So I should go back to it. So, blessed be, and I hope you enjoyed the information.